Hey, what's up, everybody? Today, I'm going to cover how I closed 2 aged final expense leads for my agents last week. Well, for 2 of my agents, one of my leadership team members was out and I had to fill in for him a little bit. And I helped 2 brand new agents close 2 aged lead sales. And I'm going to go over the important key points from those sales and how you can apply them to your sales. As always, please like the video. Does me a lot, helps out. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on post notifications so you can be notified every time I drop a video, because I'm always dropping the gold, the fire, and share this video to social media. These first sales here, the first one was with, this was great. So the lady was 6'2", 400 pounds, right? Petite. And she had diabetic neuropathy and she had congestive heart failure. So she had 3 things working against her approvals here, right? She had her height and weight. She had neuropathy, diabetic neuropathy, and congestive heart failure. 3 usually pretty serious things in any company's eyes. You're rarely going to get a company that's going to be cool with all 3 of those things at one time. A few things helped me get this sale. First thing I'm going to go over is a policy review. So I want all you guys to understand how important policy reviews are if you talk to a client who has another carrier. It's always, every time without exception, you have to be unreasonable. Every time without exception, I would call the other company to do a policy review. Okay, so what that means is you have a client and they have a policy and you call their company, the company that they have that policy with, to get the exact details of it, like the exact premium, the death benefit, if it's ever going to go up in price, it would be a term. This woman had actually got a term policy. So she got a term policy with Colonial Penn like 8 years before I spoke with her. And she would never get a term policy now with those health conditions, right? So obviously she had a program. It was a 5-year renewable term. So she was in like a really good plan considering her health, but there is a chance she could outlive it and it doesn't have cash value or anything like that. It's still a term policy. I had to call the company and hope that maybe they would say something that would get her mad, number one, for her to want to get a policy through me. I'd recommended she didn't cancel that policy. I don't think it was in her best interest to cancel that, but she did end up buying a separate policy through me, and she had no intention at all. Like, she was dead set on keeping that policy that she had and not adding any other coverage. So I said to her, since it was a 5-year term, and you have to be creative in looking for reasons to call to do a policy review. Sometimes people are like cool with like, yeah, let's just call the company. But you want to ask questions that'll put them in a situation to where they want you to call for them to figure it out. So I said to this woman, I said, okay, well, so that's a term policy. Has it ever gone up in price? And she said, yeah, it goes up every 5 years or at certain times. I said, okay, how much does it cost the next time it bumps up? She's like, I don't know. I said, what about the time after that? She said, I don't know. I said, okay, well, you want to make sure that your son Dion is going to have coverage no matter what, right? Or were you just looking for something temporary? She goes, no, I want him to have something permanent. I said, okay, now what would happen if this coverage became unaffordable and you couldn't afford it anymore? If the rate just all of a sudden skyrocketed to something that you didn't anticipate and you couldn't afford it, what would you do then? She's like, I don't know. I said, okay, well, I'm going to get you some options on something that would be a little more permanent than what you have now, something that'll last until you're 100 years old. And I'm also going to call the company so that we can get that information on how much those premiums are going to be. That way, hey, maybe it's something you can manage, maybe you can't. So I called the company on a 3-way call. I said that to her. I said, does that make sense? She's like, yeah. So we called, and the lady didn't know how much the policy would increase to. It was so crazy. And this happens all the time. So like weird little things like this where you call and it like ruins the credibility of that company. So I'm like, hey, how much does it cost for the next 3 rate hikes for her? And she's like, the lady's like, I don't know. I don't handle that. I don't have that information. I'm like, so you're the company who manages her policy, and you don't know how much her policy is going to cost her the next time it increases. She's like, no, let me get you to that department. And then she hung up on us. So the lady was like, wow, that doesn't make me feel good. So then that's a policy review. So that's one thing to help get the sale. So remember, always do policy review, guys. If your lead, your prospect has another carrier, you want to get them on the phone. Another thing you can say, if you're not really sure, if there's not like specifics that are sticking out, to ask the client, say, look, I consider myself kind of an insurance doctor. And just like if you go to your doctor and you say, hey, I'm on medications, that doctor has to know exactly which medications you're currently on to be able to prescribe you anything in the future, if he's even going to prescribe you anything at all. I said, same for me. I have to know exactly what your insurance medicine is right now in order for me to give you a valid prescription moving on, because I could give you something that doesn't even help you or that actually hurts you. And then maybe I don't give you something that actually does help you. or give you I never say get them a policy. I say get you information on. right? So like I always, instead of like, I'm going to get you a policy that can help you, I'm going to get you information on something that could potentially help you, right? So I don't like the super assumptive language. This is how I assume that if I find something that is going to fit their financial situation and that solves a problem for them, they're going to get it from me. I don't assume that they're going to get a policy no matter what. I don't know. I don't like that language. It doesn't work for me, but it works for some other people. The second thing that helped me is being unreasonable, because most agents would count that out immediately. Woman's got a huge term policy. She's unhealthy. She's probably not going to outlive it. She's got a bunch of coverage. I'm going to quote her a whole life. It's going to be crazy expensive. What I quoted her was 3 times as much as what. So she had a $30,000 term. I got her $10,000. I think it was about $30,000. A $10,000. No, it was a $40,000 term. I got her a $15,000 whole life for like the same price that she's paying, or more than I think than what she's paying for that term policy. So, right, it was like she had to have a strong reason why. So, and that comes from being unreasonable. So you guys want to be unreasonable in your sales, be unreasonable in your expectation of solving a problem for the client, and be unreasonably sold that your product is the best solution and they should always add coverage no matter what. You can always find a reason for someone to add coverage. If it's not just, hey, leave extra money for your kids. What parent doesn't want to leave extra money for their kids? You find me any parent and say you want to leave your kids $100,000 or $1 million, they're going to say $1 million unless they're just jerks. So I asked questions to spin it that way. And also what was important is to coach her on the PHI. So I got her with the company Prosperity Prime Term. And the question on the application specifically says, have you been diagnosed with congestive heart failure in the last 2 years? And they don't have a height and weight chart. It does not say, have you been diagnosed or treated for congestive heart failure? So she can answer that question as a no and still get approved. You got to be very careful with reading the wording for these applications, and they know that. So I told her, I said, look, they're going to ask you if you've been diagnosed with congestive heart failure in the last 2 years. You were diagnosed more than 2 years ago. You're being treated for it now, and they consider that like maintenance. I said, so when they ask you, have you been diagnosed in the last 2 years, you're going to say no. So they asked her. She said no. Medications came up for CHF. They said, do you take this med? Yes. Have you been diagnosed with CHF in the last 2 years? She said no. Went great. She got approved right there. Now, it's not a permanent policy. It's not a whole life policy, but it is more permanent because it's like a return of premium the first year, graded the next 2 years, and then it's level for years 4 through 20, and then it decreases very slowly till age 100. So the odds of this lady dying in that years 4 through 20 are huge. Plus, it has cash value. So if at the end of that 20 years, it's like a universal life. It's not really a term. It's like a cash value term. It's a universal life. So it's a perfect policy for that situation. Her rate's never going to increase, and she's going to have a cash value option and potential to have a death benefit long after that other policy is just unaffordable. Now, the next sale I got, by the way, if you found value in that, I told you I'm really good at this. Share this video. Like the video and turn on post notifications, and you can email me too. You'll see it right here. You can text me or email me, whatever, jve@thejve.com. My phone number is 774-606-6847. You can also reach out to me, shoot me a text if you have any questions, and I'll answer as best I can. So the next sale that I got, it was a laydown for max coverage with a guaranteed issue policy. So this one was super easy. Like, this wasn't any spectacular sale. It was for a new agent. She had busted her butt all week, and she deserved to get a laydown. And that happens, right? Like, I had cancer. It was so funny. I'm like, what type of cancer you got? He's like, I don't know. I was like, okay. But he said he had cancer. So, guaranteed issue. And it was easy. I just quoted him. All I did was quote him the max coverage amount. I like I did with that woman too, but I'd have to drop down. So I always quote max coverage first. I quoted him $25K and $20K for a guaranteed issue. It was like $180 and the other one was like $150 or something like that. And he was like, yeah, sounds good. I'm like, sweet, let's go. And right to the application. This is important, guys. This is a thing to note here too. When you sell a policy and they agree, do not question it. Don't be, are you sure you want to apply for that? You sure you can afford that? You sure you can manage that? No, they picked it. So if anything, they can probably go a little higher. So if they picked, right when they pick the plan, you give them some options. When you quote, say which of these best fit your needs, or which of these you want to leave behind for whatever their beneficiary's name is. They pick an option, and then immediately, the first thing I do is say, when they're like, I'll take that one. I say, great, what's your middle initial? Cool, and is the address on file that I have here, the XYZ Street, 123 XYZ Street? Is that where we're marrying this policy? Yep, great. And then I just start filling out the app right there. That's it. Like, right to the app, fill it out as fast as you can. So you're going to get some laydowns, and that happens, right? Like, this was not a spectacular sale. It was an easy sale. So it was pretty cool. I hope you guys found some value in this. We sell age leads all the time. So don't think that you're going to need a brand new lead to be successful at selling final expense. You don't. There's an evolution of an agent where you go from being like wanting the most high intent leads, and then you realize that you're really good, so you don't need that. Like my close ratio on an aged lead is going to be the same as a close ratio on a new lead. So you go from aged leads and then or new leads, and you're like, okay, cool, let me throw some aged leads in there because I don't really care if I get someone on the phone. I know that I have a good chance of closing them because we can just assume that probably 80% of people over 60 need our product, right? We have, we got over 1 million leads probably. And I don't know how much, but probably. And that's just scratching the surface of how many people actually need these products in the country. So if you have any questions, like I said, reach out to me. You're going to want to watch this next video too on how we sold 41 age final expense leads in a week. And don't get me wrong, we have a ton of live transfers here. Our phones are banging off the hook all the time. Inbound calls. Our setup's a little different. We provide leads to our agents at a smaller commission percentage than like what a street level contract would be, but I still got plenty of agents making over 100 grand. So it works out. But because of that, I have exposure to a ton of phone calls and a ton of recordings and coaching opportunities that most people wouldn't get. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I want to help you. I want to help your team grow. If you want me on your team's morning call, just reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to jump in on your morning call. Anything I can do to help anybody's team out here, I'm more than willing. Thank you.